4:50 a.m. on Saturday, March 21st. I was making my way to CSX's S-Line in order to track down train K423 with none other than a Ferromex SD70 ACE leading the way. It was still dark by the time I was nearing Ocala, at which point I was informed that the train had beat me to town. With that, I decided to push south along the S-Line until I found sunlight, which brought me to Bushnell. I had only gained about 10 minutes on the train, and by the time I set up, the Mexican leader was closing in on the small town. I was beaming at the sight of a Ferromex SD70. The company had quite literally been my most wanted for as long as I can remember, so the fact that I was pacing one of their aces down the Florida peninsula left me grinning from ear to ear. About 10 miles south, I pulled off at La Cucci Siding, a spot that has always treated me well. I've seen a YN2 EMD, a BNSF Executive Mac, and now a Ferromex leader, all on this dirt road. I'm not on the S-Line much, but I'm here enough to know where to go when chasing trains. Well, as far south as La Cucci, I should say. I've only ever been beyond La Cucci once, but luckily I found myself in the middle of a railfan caravan, so I just followed them. Getting ahead of 423 was tough, but we were able to beat the train a couple miles south of Vitus Junction. Absolutely nothing could have beat the truly foreign leader moving through the golden lighting. I had lost the caravan after this spot, leaving me with nothing but Google Maps and a ticking clock. I thought I could beat the train to Plant City, but got all turned around and saw nothing but ethanol loads. From there, I sprinted to the popular 78th Street crossing, the last public access point prior to CSX's Yeoman Yard in Tampa. By this point, I was extremely happy with my chase of 423, so neither the insane backlighting or the perfectly positioned yard job mattered much to me. I was so focused on the Ferromex leader throughout the morning that I barely noticed the two BNSF engines trailing. I got my fair share of those the next day, however, as a friend alerted me to northbound Q442's power. I pulled up on the train at Vitus Junction, where the S-Line splits, either going towards Plant City and Tampa, or Lakeland with trains destined for Winston and Miami. After the train cleared and I started to catch up, I noticed two things. Number one, I desperately needed to clean my windshield, and number two, I was witnessing a train meet in the Vitus Super Siding. It was pretty cool. Unfortunately for me, there was a traffic detour, which meant I momentarily lost the train. It wasn't until Kruma Cucci 15 miles later that I was in front of the Waycross-bound Manifest. It was at this moment that I realized just how good a BNSF duo looks and how long it had been since I laid eyes on one. Catching up on US 301, I was treated to the awesome stretch of parallel track and roadway, perfect for pacing. One of the reasons I enjoy pacing is because you notice details that are nearly impossible to catch trackside, such as the axles furiously spinning and the trucks bouncing up and down. I couldn't dawdle for too long if I wanted to beat 442 through Bushnell, and had just enough time to set up north of town near Lake Panisofsky. Q442 is historically a large train, having 149 cars on this date. Tampa truly gets just about every type of rail car, from Tropicana reefers to flip-top phosphate hoppers. I always thought these Tropicana cars traveled on a Jacksonville-bound intermodal, but the MO must have changed while I've been at school. Over the following few days, I did some significant work on my car, and once finished, I was looking for an excuse to put it through the ringer. It was Thursday, so I thought a chase of the Florida East Coast's weekly southbound extra was in store, usually led by EMD Power. I started off in St. Augustine. While not the EMD-powered extra I was expecting, I was excited to see southbound 101 gliding along the San Sebastian River through our country's oldest city. After 101 cleared, I realized how close I was to Jacksonville, and with that, I was heading north. I didn't find any action until the McQuaid Street crossing on the north side of town, one of Jacksonville's busiest locations. McQuaid sits at the junction of CSX's Moncrief Yard and the lead to Norfolk Southern's Simpson Yard, where both railroads merge and funnel onto the giant FEC drawbridge in order to interchange with my favorite railroad. As I was sitting at McQuaid, I realized that with all the train chasing I had been doing the past couple of days, this was the first time I pointed my camera at a pair of CSX engines. As mundane as dark future GEVOs are, I still really like the look of GE's steerable trucks on these ES44 AHs. North Jacks is nice because CSX and NS yards are very close to each other, and I was sitting at the latter about 6 minutes later watching a GEVO drill the intermodal yard. From Simpson, I heard CSX Q452, so I sprinted to Callahan with about 3 minutes to spare. Callahan is one of the many focal points in North Florida train watching. The turnout at Callahan joins the CSX A and S lines, with double-track mainline continuing about 22 miles north to Folkston. Callahan shoots the S line south to Baldwin and through Crawford, the intersection with Norfolk Southern's GS&F main line. The GS&F runs down to Simpson and joins the CSX A line back at McQuaid, the same A line that Q452 is currently swinging onto. Today's train had a whopping 10,247 feet coming north out of Miami, with an axle count of over 700. 452 had all sorts of neat cars like these weird stubby-looking gondolas. I've seen these before on FEC, but never been able to figure out what exact purpose or industry they serve. As far as I've seen, there's little evidence of the coronavirus affecting the railroads, save the downturn in the automobile market indicated by a single measly auto rack coming out of South Florida. The global pandemic is the only reason I've been in Florida for so long, as the shift to fully online classes after spring break gave me no immediate need to get back to North Carolina. I figured rail fanning the back roads of North Florida was the most effective way to social distance, and considered myself a model citizen as I sat in the hot sun south of Crawford. I fooled around with the drone for about 15 minutes until I just so happened to see a headlight down the way. I was delighted to see what appeared to be a trio of Canadian Pacific engines as the train approached. This is K422 northbound ethanol empties out of Tampa, powered by 3 different models of CPGEs, an ES44AC up front, a rebuilt AC4400CWM in the middle, and an AC4400CW third out. A common occurrence, I felt the impulse to give chase once 422 cleared. I passed the train when he slowed for the Callahan turnout and quickly found myself rattling down a dirt road towards a spot called Dial Hill. I've never stopped at Dial Hill before today, but wow, am I glad I did. K422 at Dial was an awesome way to end my Coronacation rail fanning. Between the Ferromex, BNSF, and Canadian Pacific leaders, as well as everything I found along the way, it had been a great couple of outings along CSX's Florida Mainlines. Thanks for rail fanning with me today, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video.